Good evening, everyone. Hello, welcome to Healing is Power. I pray that you all are doing well out there this evening and taking care of yourselves as always. You guys can find Healing is Power on the following platforms: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, and Amazon Music, YouTube, of course. Share, like, and subscribe to my channel today. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, now known as X, but formerly known as Twitter, and TreeLink, excuse me. Today I have Mr. Dallas Collis, who will be speaking on his definition of healing. He is the author of The Gift. The Gift is the Present, Live Long with Fit 5 Life, The Step System, and Cancer Combat. I love his breakdown of his definition of healing, and I really want to share it with you guys today. So I'm going to bring him on right now. Hello, Dallas. How are you?
Hello, Taya. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for being a part of Healing is Power. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to jump right into it. I want the audience to know your definition of healing and your wonderful breakdown of everything.
Okay, I wonder if we can start with an agreed position, with affirming our destination,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's destination. Everyone alive, everyone has ever been alive. It is my belief that we all have the same destination, the same purpose, as it were, the same position or place we want to get to in life. Everyone,
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same. And that is peace, love, happiness. We want to find life in a peaceful mind, a stillness, an emptiness in a way that is just happiness. People work at a job for 50 years to try and reach retirement. To do what? To try and slow down, enjoy life, find their peace of mind and happiness. We all want that as a destination. Do you think we could agree on that?
Absolutely. We all want to, get to a point where, we work all our lives and, kind of, like you said, slow it down.
Yeah. So when I came to that conclusion, the first question came to me: what are you waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
Why would it be somewhere down the road, somewhere in the future? What's that reason? And that reason is what brings us together today, and what the reason you have a podcast.
Right.
Because the reason is we have to heal. Something is in the way of us reaching the destination. Something is blocking our journey.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll say, well, that's life. Life gets in the way. Life is big. Life has all sorts of obstacles and difficulties. And we have to work through, we have to heal, we have to get to that destination.
Right.
So this stems from the philosophy that you, Taya, are a story, and you're a storyteller. I am
Mm-hmm.
a story and a storyteller. Everyone is their story, their history. Everything we know, all our knowledge, is from memory of our history that we bring forward and use day to day as our knowledge.
Right.
So, how that story is made up is where everything happens. And it often, the beginning, the first 10 years of life, let's say, is the most impactful. And it's because as a child, we don't have the filter of the rational mind and the logical mind to understand things. We're
Mm-hmm.
just a sponge taking it in.
Right.
So, for me, if I'm physically abused and bullied, mentally abused and bullied, I absorb it. And it's what we tend to call a trauma,
Mm-hmm.
or many traumas. I think we believe trauma is this one big violent dramatic event. And often it isn't. Often it's 1,000 cuts along the way.
That build up over time.
Absolutely. And we call this euphemistically our emotional baggage.
Mm-hmm.
To see, we drag this bag of heavy weight, suffering, pain from our story. And this story is who we see ourselves as. We identify as that person of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I am this person with all this pain and suffering. I am a husband, a father, a sister, a brother, a mother. I see myself as these things, but below the surface of all those external views of how we live our life is this self that has this baggage. And this baggage is in the way on our journey, causes us all our pain and frustration, our problems, our fears, anxieties, regrets are all in this baggage.
Right.
And so all our work is about, well, how would we heal this? How do we get past this? Because many people never do. They live their whole life with that baggage.
Right. Suffering.
Yes. And everyone responds to it differently. Many, and I think most people, have what I call the first addiction to try and escape the baggage.
Mm.
And that first addiction is blame.
Mm-hmm.
We blame other people. I blamed the church. I blamed my school. I blamed my parents. I blamed my summer camp leader. I blamed all the people who I thought hurt me, abused me, gave me this pain. And if I blamed everything outside of myself, I didn't have to face the truth of me. I could somehow be protected by blaming, by not taking any responsibility for me.
Right.
And when blame starts to wear off, because that voice in the back of our head, the truth, starts whispering, well, you're blaming them, but that might not be the truth. And so blame starts to lose its power. And for me, I searched for a more powerful medication. Well, alcohol was great. And I became an alcoholic in trying to fight the pain, keep it away,
Mm-hmm.
medicate myself. When alcohol wasn't strong enough, I added drugs to it. Other drugs, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And you go through life in this fight and this struggle, and it's building. The pressure is always building. I went through a 25-year marriage. My partner was also an alcoholic and in
Wow.
drugs. And so here we are with a house, cars, two beautiful kids, a business, vacation. We are successful. We are what you see as normal,
Or like the
middle
power
class.
couple. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. This vision we see from the outside with really not knowing anything about it. Because, of course, under the roof of that house was a storm. It was hell. It was a war zone every day. A terrible, terrible baggage exposed, open wounds and pain. And so it builds to a point where people have their body and mind have a response. It has to let that pressure out somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And that can express itself in deep depression. It can express itself in heart disease,
Mm-hmm.
obesity, diabetes, all sorts of physical expressions of this tension and pressure that's built up. Well,
Right.
for me, I got really lucky, luckier than almost anyone I've ever met. I woke up one morning with cancer in a
Mm.
pandemic. And in 12-month period, I went through cancer and treatment. I lost my wife. I lost my house. I lost my business. I lost my family in any way you could imagine that. And I end up alone, broken, alcoholic, and suicidal, all in 1 year. The
Wow.
luckiest luckiest year of my life because it broke down the door that had separated my true self with the
Mm-hmm.
story that I thought was me, my history. One day I'm listening to a podcast playing in the background. I'm making dinner, I think. And a man on the podcast asked the question that destroyed my previous life. He
And what
said,
was that?
he said, show me yesterday. That's all.
That's deep.
Now, now understand my whole life, like everyone, as I said, is based in our history and memory. That's how we function.
Right. Right.
And for this man to say, show me yesterday, it made my mind say, if it's real, where is it? Can I go to the cupboard and pull it out and say, look, Taya, it's yesterday? Well, no, there is no tangible reality to yesterday except for the memory,
Mm-hmm.
except for my believing in its power. And its power is my life. It's who I thought I was.
So it's like the memory, it torments you in a sense when you don't let it go.
Absolutely. It is my life. Now, not everyone's different. Not everyone is tormented by the memory,
Mm-hmm.
but anyone who has regret, any upset, worry, stress, anxiety, all these things come only from memory. They can be no other place. They lead us to what we believe. And against our belief, we feel tension. So stress, anxiety, regret, all these things, they are only from a belief. And a belief can only come from a memory that we believe in. So when it was suggested to me, show me yesterday, and I had to say, I can't show you yesterday, and my whole life is yesterday, then what is it? What have I believed in that has given me all this pain and struggle and almost ended my life? Just a belief in memory? This can't be possible. And yet it is. It is exactly what has happened. You know, one of your statements said to me was, tell us who you are. The who is who I believe I am, who
Right.
I
Right.
see myself as, who I understand my beliefs are, who I feel like. That's the who, but it's not what I am.
What you are. Right.
We're asking the wrong question. Who I am is who I believe I am. What I am is not who I believe I am. I am the person who believes it. I'm not the belief.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So if I'm letting the belief control my life, I'm not in control of my life. Trauma is an event that happened to me 50 years ago. It happened then, 50 years ago. It
Mm-hmm.
had no meaning. Trauma is benign. I have to hold the trauma, take ownership of the trauma, and give it my meaning, my belief, my feelings about it. I have to make the trauma whole in me. This is the responsibility. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not responsible for the act that happened to me. I'm responsible for carrying it all these years and letting it hurt me and hurt others, holding me back, holding me down,
Mm-hmm.
strangling me in so many ways in my life. That's my responsibility. And when I realize I was responsible, it destroys blame. This is what letting go is.
Mm-hmm.
It is taking responsibility because I can't remove something unless I own it. If I have blamed everything in the past for it, I'm pretending it's not mine. and then I must carry it.
Right, right. This is such a phenomenal breakdown. I appreciate you so much. And even for myself, like I've never really looked at this breakdown like that. Like you are not who you think you are. You are not your story. You are better than that. You are beyond that.
Right.
I love
Beyond that. Beyond that.
that. Yes, beyond it. Absolutely. Yes.
When you were 1 year old, you had no story,
No,
but you were a human being.
correct.
You'd been given a name.
Right.
So why did you need a story? Did you need one? Of course not. Of course not. You were not attached to anything. You hadn't learned to identify with anything. You were just a living being. You were beyond a story.
Okay.
And then the story is created. And what does that do? It puts walls up, it puts a box around you, it labels you, it identifies you, and you become this story. You are now smaller than you were at 1 year old.
Mm.
At 1 years old, you were everything. You were life, love,
Yeah.
peace, happiness. You were everything you could be. And you want to get to in this life.
Right, right, right.
A story became a mind block from that, the what you were, the what you are.
Yes.
So I've come to this radical point now where I'm standing up to say there is no healing. Healing doesn't exist. Healing is a trap that keeps us in the story because we think we're going to fix something about us and heal something about us. We're not, because it isn't about what we are. It's about this story. And we're in a story trying to heal a story. You can't. It's impossible to heal from within. The trauma will always be in that story. It is that story. So healing is not fixing something. I went to an analogy just this morning, came to me as you own a car for 15 years, it's your car. It's almost like a friend. You've got memories with that car. You may love your car. It's your car. You may even given it a name. Many people do. You have a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with your car. And then your car starts to get old and it starts to have problems. It starts to have stresses and worries within its machinery, anxieties about its health. And sure enough, it breaks down and you take it to the doctor, mechanic. And he applies the medicine of repair. And that allows you to get back in your car and keep going a little further down the road. That's some healing just happened for your car. But the disease the car has of aging and breaking down keeps coming back. It keeps breaking down. And now it's causing you stress and worry about your car, this thing you've loved and been friends with for years. And finally, you get to a point where you realize you can't heal your car. It's just not going to get fixed for all time. You can keep giving it a medicine, an exercise, try and keep it healthy, change its oil, look after it. But it keeps breaking down. And the only way to cure the problem you're having is to leave the car.
Mm-hmm.
In the final analysis, you take the pain, those bags we're carrying around, the emotional baggage, and like the garbage, you take it to the curb and you put it down and you walk away. I didn't heal from addiction. I stopped. I left the addiction. I didn't heal from my trauma. I left my story. I no longer believe in my story. I no longer identify as the person that story was about. I don't heal, I leave it. And I go to what I am. in this day, in this time only, not in my past, not worried about tomorrow, just doing my best each day with whoever's in front of me or on my own, just being loving and caring and compassionate. And that's it. There
That's
is
it.
no other job to do. Everything else is a fabrication of our mind that we worry about. For what reason? Tomorrow morning, the sun comes up again. It doesn't matter who we elected. It doesn't matter what the economy's doing. It just keeps going. So let it go.
Right.
Let it go and ride the wave.
And
Surf,
be at peace, you know?
catch the wind and sail.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah. And I just hope that my listeners, some people really don't understand. Like, I understand your breakdown, but a lot of other people wouldn't get it. But it's a beautiful breakdown, and like I said, it's in a way that I've never thought about. You know,
You know, when you're in the storm, and you've been in the storm,
of
and I've
course.
been in a storm, and when I'm in the storm, I can't see any blue sky or sunshine. All I can see are clouds and the wind and the rain and the thunder and lightning, all the happenings, all the drama, things that seem so important. So, yeah, it's very difficult. You know, when I talk about this, people go, it sounds so simple. It sounds so easy. And in one way, it is. But when you're in that storm, it's very hard to see that blue sky and sunshine.
It is. It
But it's
is.
always there. Know that it's always in the background. It is always
Absolutely.
the what you are when you were 1 year old, and that what people suddenly realize when they're about to die, that everything is what they were, that blue sky and sunshine. In between was all the clouds, all the drama, all the attachment that in the end didn't mean anything. The meaning became to be that happy, peaceful, loving person that you are.
Yes. Beautiful. That's so beautiful.
It amazes me every day that we've this ego, this deception of a story is so powerful that it's normal. That's what we are, people will say. And I say, no, it's who we think we are, not what we
No.
truly are.
Right.
And that's hard to step outside your story. But that is, you know, if I want to use the word healing,
Hmm.
the power is to step outside your story and look at it and realize the truth of it, that it is not true.
It's just all a mind thing.
Every time that voice in your head talks to you, and we all have it, for some of us, it chatters all day long. It's constant
Yeah.
thoughts in our head. Well, if we hear the thoughts in our head, sometimes we even have a conversation with ourselves. Well, who are we talking to? And who's talking to us?
Right.
That's the moment when you can see that voice in your head is your story. Who it's talking to is what you really are. It's keeping you in the story. It doesn't want you to see outside of the story. Because if you did, you might leave the belief in your story. And then your ego would be dead. It would disappear. It would have no life. It doesn't want to die. It wants your story to be you. Even if it's full of pain and tragedy, disease, going through cancer, drug addiction, it doesn't care. It wants that drama. That's what keeps you there. It doesn't want you to know you are just love and happiness. You're just this simple being of love and happiness.
Right. 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 Gotcha. Gotcha. That makes so much
What are you without your beliefs?
sense.
That's the question. If you didn't believe anything about yourself, you wake up tomorrow morning with amnesia. You don't remember anything since you went to sleep last night. And you wake up this morning, you know nothing.
Remember nothing.
You don't know your name, what you do for a job. You don't know your history, what's happened to you. Nothing. What would you be?
A human being, a beautiful human being.
Everything you remember is just the story of who you are. It's
Yeah.
not who you are. When you accept what you are, I don't have a problem in my life. I don't have a worry in my life. I'm not anxious about tomorrow because none of those things mean anything because I don't believe they do. That's the simplicity that we are just here to be. People go, what about my job? What about my possessions? What about all this stuff, my status, my position? Well, what about it? You're trying to get to happiness and a peaceful, restful mind. That's what you want. But you already are that.
Yes.
So all those things aren't important. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy your car, enjoy your home, enjoy your kids, your family, your friends. You can enjoy your vacation, your activities, going to the gym, whatever it is. Enjoy your food. Enjoy them as part of life, but you don't identify as them. They are not you. It's just something you enjoy. You
It's a
are the
worldly
peaceful,
possession.
loving thing.
Yeah.
It's when we attach to stuff that all the problems start.
Mm-hmm.
If I attach to my position and my position is threatened, I'm upset and defensive. I'm angry. I'm scared because I've attached to it, because I think the position is me.
Understandable. Understandable.
Nothing outside of you can make you anything. No one can make you mad. No one can make you happy. No one can make you feel love. That's something you do for yourself. And if you say, but my husband makes me feel loved, I say,
I
no,
was
he
going to
does.
ask you about that. So someone says, "Oh, I just want to make you happy," or "I was trying," or I want to make this person happy. That's not. You don't feel like that's possible?
I think it's possible for them because they're given, and that makes them happy and feeling love. You can receive it, but it has no meaning unless you give it meaning. You can only make yourself love by the meaning you give. It is always yours to possess. People say today, oh, you have to love yourself. To me, that's just ridiculous. You are love. All you're doing is not accepting the feeling of your love. And so people say you need to love yourself. It's because you're not accepting that you are love. Each of us is. We can share it together and be happy for each other. And that's being in love with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But the other doesn't make the love for you. You are the love. You don't make the love for them. They are the love. You come together and share the love, like
Mm-hmm.
you share a meal, share a bed, share a life, share beautiful thoughts, share beautiful children. But they are not the thing that makes it. You are always. It is by your definition, by your meaning, by your emotional feeling that you put into it. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. Some people get angry with the littlest thing in criticism said about them. Other people, it doesn't affect them. The difference is some people just don't choose to accept it because they know it's not real. Say what you want about me. I know me. You
Mm-hmm.
can't say anything. You can't make me feel something. I have to choose that. I
Right.
choose to let you make me mad. You don't make me mad. I choose to feel your love. You don't make me feel the love. I choose. It is always that.
I got a better understanding with that now. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Nothing outside of you controls you unless you give it control. Your story doesn't control you, but we've given it control for years. It doesn't mean it controls you. You
Right.
have given it the steering wheel. You've handed the steering wheel of your car, your life, to your
Hmm.
story. Or you hand
Given the
it to,
power. Yeah.
yeah, or you hand it to a boss, or you hand it to a child. I know parents who are controlled by their children and out of their minds with what to do about it.
Yeah.
But that's just because they've given that control. I know people who are controlled by their spouse. What does that mean? It means they've given control.
Hmm.
No one can control you without your participation.
Without your consent.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's not rocket science, but we get stuck
I think
in this
people make it
huge
harder than what it
complex.
is.
We've got a whole world that teaches us it's big, it's complex, it's hard, life is tough, it's a struggle, it's all these things. So, of course, we believe it is all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I get
There's
it.
something wrong with you. You have to fix yourself. No, there isn't. There's something wrong with your story, and you believe it.
You can't believe what you think you are. You have to know who you are.
Do you remember just, I don't know, maybe a decade back or so, there was a young woman on the American gymnastics team. She's the best in the world. I can't think of her name right now. But she came out about her struggle with mental illness.
Hmm.
And it was an explosion in the media and in the culture around the world. How brave this woman was to stand up and talk about her mental health struggle. How amazing she is to do this. And almost in an instant, the Me Too of mental health exploded. This is a seed of mental health problem and the crisis we're in today. We now have 50 more diagnoses of mental health since then. It's
Hmm.
exploded that everything, every upset, every worry, every anxiety, every trauma is a massive problem of your mental health. We create an illusion of ill health until everyone seems in ill health. I don't believe it's real. We believe in the crowd. The crowd must be right. Everyone's saying it. And doctors are saying it. And
Hmm.
experts. How could we not believe it? And that is what the story is all about. Believing in the truth of a thing when we don't know. We just believe.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no law that says you have to believe.
You don't have
There's
to believe. Absolutely.
there's no truth. That's the reality. We have so little we know as the truth in this entire world. Every day science comes up with a different idea or answer. Every day technology changes. Every day our beliefs change. You believe things 10 years ago you don't believe today.
Right.
You will believe things in 10 years from now that you don't believe today. That's the reality. This thing isn't real outside of our belief in it. And when we can come to that moment to look at it and to question ourselves, our story, is it true? Have I been hurt by this story I believe is me and isn't? That's what we have to come to look at ourselves. We can't see ourselves within the story. That's why friends will see you more clearly than you see yourself, because they're not in your story.
Mm.
That's why sometimes you can be such a good counsel and help for your friends, because you can see things about them they can't see.
And they can
Because
see things about you you can't see.
they're in their story and you are in yours.
Yours.
You have to get
Yes.
outside and be your friend that sees your story. Be your counsel that can look at your story objectively, not passionate, not attached with emotion, but dispassionately look at your own story and say, wow, are these things true that I have believed? Are
Mm.
these things so powerful that they've caused these things to happen in my life? When you can get there, the whole world starts to open up because you realize the truth of yourself.
Awesome. Awesome breakdown. Thank you. Thank you.
It's an awesome, awesome place to go.
I believe it. I believe it. I need to kind of take some tips on this myself. um, can you talk a little bit about each one of your books?
Sure.
Starting with, I would like you to talk about the Cancer Combat.
Yeah, well, they are in an order
Hmm.
for a reason, you know.
Okay, because I'm seeing your background there, so
Yeah.
is okay.
So when I first came out of my, as I called, my year of life collapse,
Hmm.
of course I was very weak and beaten up by cancer and treatment.
Hmm.
I was a skinny little feather blowing in the breeze and weak.
Oh
So I wrote
goodness.
this first book, Cancer Combat,
Hmm.
to talk about.
Is that the mask you had to wear during treatment?
Yes.
Okay. The reason how I know about that, my mother went through larynx cancer, and she had to put that on to, of course, shield parts that weren't cancerous.
Yeah, that's
Protect you from
for
the radiation.
radiation treatment.
Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah.
So they can focus it right on the cancer as much as they
Yes.
can
Okay.
to do as little damage to healthy cells as possible.
Exactly. Okay.
However, it doesn't work that well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a
Oh,
hell of a thing to go through, that's for sure. But
yeah.
so that book was my beginning to see from the outside.
Hmm.
This whole journey has been to get outside of what is happening or what has happened, to try to see it objectively instead of just being the object of what happens. So that was my discovery to how do I get back? How do I get healthier? How do I think more positively? In a sense, at that time, I was purely focused in healing that objective, right?
Hmm.
And that led me to the next book. I keep moving in the camera. The
You're fine.
yellow the yellow one here is the step system. And it's because I instantly realized I couldn't take big steps. I couldn't make big changes. The pain, the lack of energy, all the position I was in physically makes you mentally small. You can't grab big things. You've got to take tiny steps, one little step at a time. Don't try and fix everything overnight because you can't.
Absolutely not.
And in fact, there's a huge downside to trying to make big change in life at any time. And that is that the bites are too big, you fail and fall back, and the voice, the story, pipes up and says, see, you failed. You can't do that. You're not strong enough. You're not good enough. And so it
Right. Right.
reinforces the negativity that you're trying
Hmm.
to fight in the end. So that small step, one of the small steps was I took my chair. I don't know if you have a favorite chair that you sit in when you read or when you watch movies. It could be the couch, whatever it is.
Hmm.
I had that chair. And I would get up in the morning, make coffee, and go sit in my chair. And it was a magnet. 2 hours later, I was still in my chair. So I had to take the chair as one small step. I put the chair in the garden shed out in the backyard so that when I woke up, the trigger, the thought would not be go sit down again. I was sleeping all night. You don't need to be sitting down. And so that was the message I needed was don't sit down. Go do something. Be more active. I've got a sticky note on my television screen. You can see it right there. That sticky note says get off your ass. Because my TV knows I'm staring at it
Uh-huh.
and I need to get away from it for a bit.
Right, and go do something else productive.
Exactly. I have a sticky note on my fridge. It says, "What's going into your mouth?" These are all little baby steps, triggers to be present, to be conscious and awake with what's happening. Because we get into habits and routines and we sleepwalk through our day without barely having to think about things. That's the story mind. That is purely in that fantasy world we believe is us. Instead of being present and awake to create us. I create me by not sitting in the chair. I create me by choosing better food. I create me by being attentive to what I'm doing right now in the moment. Those are the simple, small steps we have to take. And so this led to the third book, and that's Live Long with the Fit 5 Life. I realized I really got into the longevity scene, and people would say, you can become younger. Well, I realized right away that's a silly idea. You can't get younger. You're always getting older, but you can
Right.
get healthier with the age you live.
Mm-hmm.
And so its health span is what I was working toward. I don't want to die from cancer. I want to have a healthier, longer life. And if I saw people who got cancer and gave up, they mentally were broken by it and they gave into it, and 90% of them died within a year or two. But the ones that said, I will be healthier, I will not be that story of the broken me, the hurt me, the
Mm-hmm.
sick me. I will be this me, and I will do these small steps. I will eat better. I will exercise more. I will learn to have a more loving social life, to take myself less seriously and be less stressed and worried about things, to sleep better, to recover and be healthier. And that's what that book was all about. And that led me to this one place that we're talking about today. Because I began working with people, coaching people to get healthier, to live a longer, healthier, happier life. And the one roadblock that kept coming up with every person was the same. They want to find that happy, peace, loving place to live. But this baggage was in the way. Even people who got physically healthy, they still drag this baggage around, this emotional heavy weight from yesterday and worrying about tomorrow. Everything outside of their life in the moment right now. And so that brought me to the gift. The gift is the present, is now. When I went to the step system, it was about collapsing a life that I felt had collapsed. I
Mm-hmm.
collapsed it into one day. Into If our day is 24 hours and you sleep 8 hours, you have 16 hours to live your life today. And I realized quite quickly that's all you will ever have is 16 hours. You don't have more than 16 hours. You will go to sleep tonight, and in essence, you will die. And in the morning, you will be reborn for one day, for 16 hours. This gift you are given is this one day. And in that gift, can I love someone just for one day? Can I be there for someone for one day? Can I exercise for my own health in one day, just for a half hour? Can I eat better just for one day? Everything in our life happens only in this one day. How simple is that? To only look at 16 hours and do the best possible job I can of just being a human being. What a gift. What a gift.
What a
And
gift.
tomorrow Tomorrow you get a do-over. So if it wasn't as good as you wanted today, you get to try again tomorrow. What an incredible gift we're given.
Amen.
Right now, this day, everything happens right now. You don't have a past unless you remember it right now. You don't have a worry about tomorrow unless you remember it right now.
That's so beautiful.
You
Thank
can
you.
spend your day in your story, yesterday and tomorrow, or you can spend it here. I spending this time with Taya Tillman, talking together, loving together, being together. That's all.
Yes.
And that's
It's
all you
here.
ever have to do with anyone, with yourself, at any moment. It is this simple.
It's that simple.
Put
That's
down the bags, put down the bags and walk away. The bags are not you.
you guys hear that? Your baggage is not you.
You've been fooled by your story.
Mm.
The Matrix is your story you believe in. Leave the Matrix. Get out. You can do it anytime, right now, instantly. There's no work to do. There's no effort needed. You have everything you need in you. You don't need to add anything. You don't need self improvement. You need story removement. That's all.
That's it. That's all.
Put down the bags. They're not you. You don't own them. Leave them.
It's beautiful. Where can the audience find all of your books, and what social medias are you on?
Yeah, well, books are all on Amazon.
Amazon.
Um,
Okay.
I always say today, if you've got my name, I can't hide. They've got you, Dallas Collis at gmail.com. How simple is that? People reach out, you just talk. It's no problem.
Okay.
Real life.
Well, I like to put some of your links in the in the comments below, so of course, everyone can find you and check you out because you are phenomenal. I appreciate you coming on Healing is Power tonight.
Well, you are phenomenal, Taya. What you're doing, you are a part of a revolution in the world today, the democratization of voices that we've never seen before. And it's people like you who put in the work to make it happen, because I know it's a lot of work that you do put in.
It
And
is.
it's very special. You're a special person for it. So I commend you.
Thank you so much. This interview and the interview that I did before, I have not been feeling my best, but I have a job to do, so I pushed through.
I appreciate that.
No problem. Well, thank you so much once again, Dallas, for being on Healing is Power. You guys, once again, can find Healing is Power on the following platforms: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm on IG and Twitter, now known as, I believe, X now, and I'm also on TreeLink. You guys have an amazing evening. Again, Dallas, thank you so much.
Thank you, Taya.
You take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.